Hey everybody, welcome! My name is Kurt, aka Vitruvian Gamer, and I'm here with a new playthrough. And this time, I'm playing Arkham Horror, the card game. Now, I know there are quite a bit playthroughs there already, but I really wanted to play this solo as well. I've been playing this 2 players with my girlfriend for a while, but now I wanted to try this out solo. I'm going to start with the first scenario, the Night of the Zealot, which is more of a tutorial, so this might be not interesting for people who know this already. Also, for people who don't know this already, there are spoilers in here, of course, although this game is meant to be played multiple times, deck building and all that stuff when you get expansions and all that shit. Now, before you ask me, I only have 1 base set. They propose to have 2 at least, so you have multiple copies of some good cards. I don't like that way of selling stuff. I'm sorry, Fantasy Flight, but I don't like how you do these things. But anyway, I like your games, so I didn't buy 2 base games, but I do have some expansions. I do have the Dunwich Legacy expansion, the Deluxe expansion, and all that stuff. So I've got some cards to choose from, and well, I decided to go with a character that I haven't seen being played a lot yet on YouTube. So there's a little bit more new thing to learn, at least for you folks at home. I'm going to play Ashken Pete. Now, Ashken Pete is a drifter. He is a red character, which means he's a survivor character. Now, I'm not going to go into every detail about his deck building. So he uses mostly survivor cards, of course, which was a hard thing to do, honestly. I had a really hard time building a deck for him. And well, we'll see what it brings. This is my 32 cards deck, 30 for his deck building and 2 weaknesses. One that he always has, and 1 random basic weakness is in there as well. Then we have, of course, Duke, and Duke is a card that he always has. So he starts with Duke already. He has a dog, which I think is pretty cool. I always like these characters who have this animal sidekick with them. All right, what else did we do? Well, let's go over the story, of course. So it's Friday, September 18, 1925, Arkham, Massachusetts. I hate this name of this town, Massachusetts. It is the end of a long and abnormally hot summer. The first hints of autumn beckon, but the heavy heat persists, relentless. A silent, unspoken anger grips the town. Tempers are short, and in the last week alone there have been numerous reports of townspeople coming to heated, violent blows with one another over simple misunderstandings. And now, a call from James Hankerson. He claims to have found a dismembered body in his barn. Blaming the weather would be too easy. There is something wrong with this town, and not a whole lot this old soothsayer can do to stop the slide. My auguries indicate a small group of investigators will soon take note of these strange happenings and set forth to make things straight. Or things right. I'll be watching their progress, but I won't be holding my breath. So that's the base story. And well, team of investigators, it's only 1 in this case. And then it tells us how to set up the campaign. I already did that, shows the investigator and all that stuff. And then we go to the first adventure, which is you and your partners, I'm alone, have been investigating strange events taking place in your home city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Over the past few weeks, several townspeople have mysteriously gone missing. Recently, their corpses turned up in the woods, savaged and half-eaten. The police and newspapers have stated that wild animals are responsible, but you believe there is something else going on. You are gathered together, or I'm here thinking at my home and discussing with myself in the mirror these bizarre events. So, part of setup, we needed to have an encounter deck, which is this. These have numerous cards of certain types, so they all have symbols on them. So I had to take all the cards with the right symbols and shuffle them all together. I had to put aside a bunch of cards, some locations, and so on. We'll see when that happens. We have agenda cards and act cards that we needed. I explain those soon. And we start here with the first location, the study. And that's where we are. This is our player token here, our player card here. So what's going on? So first, what's the goal of this game? Well, we have to go through these acts to get through this game, and each act needs certain amount of clues, mostly, not always. Sometimes you have to do something else to go to the next part of the adventure. So in this case, we need 2 clues for each investigator, so we only need 2. And it says, as you leap to investigate, the door to your study vanishes before your eyes, leaving behind only solid wall. You're trapped inside your study until you can find another way out. So suddenly we're trapped in our study. There is no way out. Then we have the agenda. Now this is a timer that we don't want to advance because these are the bad things. So this is the bad things that will happen, and this, well, as soon as this hits 3 doom tokens, and the name says it all, doom tokens, then it will advance. We will read whatever is behind it and we go to the next part if there is still a next part to do. It is late at night. You are holed up in your study researching the bloody disappearances that have been taking place in the region. A few hours into your research, you hear the sound of strange chanting coming from your parlor down the hall. At the same time, you hear dirt churning as if something were digging beneath the floor. So this happens first, so we're researching all this kind of stuff, and suddenly our door vanishes. It's gone. Alright, here in the study. So let's go through our location. So a location card mostly has a side with a lock and another side. Well, that you have with cards, they have 2 sides. So this is the study that we start in. First we read this text. So we've been investigating the strange events occurring in Arkham for several days now. Your desk is covered in newspaper articles, police reports, and witness accounts. So we're here. As soon as you're in a location, you get to flip it and see what else is there. So let's see. The door to your study has vanished. Yes, you can see it is gone. And really, this game, the artwork is magnificent. All right, so what do we have here? First, we have the name, of course, but we also have this number. And that means this location will start with 2 clue tokens for each investigator. Clues that we can find. So we need to find clues to get out of here. Where is the door? And this is a shroud value. So this is the difficulty of getting those clues. So we need some clues. This symbol here, I will explain later for sure. Unless we die in the study. Let's hope we don't. Alright, so that's the setup. We have Ashken, we have Duke. Now let's go to Ashken again. Ashken has his stats, so he has a very big willpower, decent speed to evade stuff, but not that great lore and strength. But of course he has Duke to help him out. He has also a special ability. He can discard a card from his hand, or I can do it, to ready an asset I control. We'll see when that happens. And in this symbol here, we'll draw tokens during this game. If we draw this one, we get this effect here. So we'll see. 6 life points, 5 sanity points. So we want to keep that under control. Alright, so at the beginning of the game, you start with 5 resources. That are these small tokens here. These are resource tokens, or in some cases, charge tokens. And we start with 5 cards. Now, we can take a mulligan if we want. So these are my starting cards. Lucky, baseball bat, flashlight, emergency aid, and survival instinct. Now, what do I want? So I can take a mulligan, meaning I can discard as many cards as I like and take as many cards back into my hand. And I think I'm going to remove a few cards because the baseball bat and the healing card, they might not be very attractive. I'm going to remove 3 of them. So I put them aside for now and draw 3 new cards. I can do this only once. So I've got an unexpected courage, a hypnotic gaze, and some emergency cash that might also be very interesting. Alright, after I do this, I take the cards that I set aside and I shuffle them in. Now, if I were to have to draw a weakness in my starting hand, then you also discard it and draw another one, and then shuffle the card back into the deck, because you don't start with a weakness. That would be a little bit painful, but hey, I might draw it as a next card. So, and now we are really ready to begin. So we have this overview card. So a round sequence, folks, is like this. First we have a Mythos phase. We skip that during the first round, so I'm not going to talk about that. We go immediately to the investigation phase, where we take a turn performing 3 actions. So let's do that. So let's first see what we have in our hand. Emergency cash, always a good thing to have. A lot of, well, then we have more resources, but we might not need them. A flashlight, always cool to investigate. Makes it easier, but this location isn't too hard to investigate, so I might want to play fast and try to investigate already. But we'll see. Maybe we should use the flashlight once. But first, let's see if we should do. Because we're first going to use Duke. And Duke says he can only be played with the Ashcan P deck. So there we are. And we can, and this symbol here is do an action, this is an action symbol. So you use one of your 3 actions to do this. We could exhaust Duke, which means flipping it that way, to fight. And well, then we attack with a strength skill of 6, and we deal 1 more damage. Duke is a great dog. But we can also do as an action exhaust Duke to investigate, and then with a base skill of lore 4. And we can also move to a connecting location before investigating with this effect. So that makes us faster as well. But we're not going to do, well, we are going to do that for sure. We are going to investigate with Duke. There are more actions that we can choose from. As you can see, I'm going to explain when I do this. We can draw a card or a resource, play an event or an asset from our hand, activate, that's what we are going to do, activate an action ability here. We can move to a connecting location. Connecting will be explained later. We can investigate. Well, that's something we are doing now, but it's an action that Duke does. But we can also investigate without Duke if we want to. We can fight or engage an enemy. Fighting means really trying to hit him. Engage means getting him to you. And we can attempt to evade an enemy who is engaged with us. These symbols here mean that they don't cost an action to activate. There we go. Now, if we are engaged with an enemy, things might be more difficult. We'll see when that happens. But first, we're going to exhaust Duke to investigate with a base of 4 against this Shroud that I talked about earlier, the Shroud of 2. So we need a success of 2. We have 4 versus 2, so we have 2 more than we need. But then comes this bag here, and this bag is filled with tokens, and these tokens have numbers or symbols on them, and well, this can influence our results. So each time you do a skill check, you draw a token out of this bag. Now, this also determines how difficult the game is. You can choose easy, hard, medium, whatever. Also, this card we put depending on the difficulty. I'm playing easy, alright? Standard is already pretty hard. We'll see what happens. I'm playing easy, so in the book you can find which tokens to put in the bag if you're playing any difficulty. So we draw 1 token, so 4 against 2, and we draw a special one already. So then we have to go and look at this card that I just showed, and we just look at the results. So this means, in this case, in this scenario, means -2, and if there is a goal enemy at your location, we take 1 damage. Now, there is no goal here, but we get -2. Luckily for us, we have still enough. So 4 minus 2 is 2. We need 2, so that's enough. And I forgot to put the clue tokens on the location. So we get to take 1 token here. Awesome. All right, now I could use the special ability of Ashcan Pete here to discard a card to ready Duke, but I'm not sure if I want to immediately want to give away one of my cards to do so. So I think I'm going to spend 2 of my resources to play the flashlight. And as you can see, this is an asset. That's the cost, so it costs 2 resources to play. This we'll explain later. And then it says that it has 3 supplies. So if I put this into play, I put 3 resource tokens on it as supplies. It's a battery, you can call it a battery. And as an action, we can spend 1 of those supply tokens to investigate our location with -2 shroud. So that's what we'll do. We put this into play here. And well, let's do this. So we get 3 supplies on the flashlight. And as a third action, because playing a card is an action, as a third action, we use 1 of our supplies and we're going to investigate the study here again. This time this shroud is 0 because it gets -2. Our lore is 2, so we have again 2 more than we need, but again we need to draw a token out of the bag of doom, as I tend to call it. Oh, but this time there are 2 +1s in this game, 3 zeros I guess, 3 or 4, and the rest is not that good. But we get +1, so we managed to get our second clue token. Now, that means that we can, and that's not as a free action, we can spend these tokens, and mostly you can spend them as a team, but I'm all alone, 2 tokens here to advance the act here. So I'm going to pay these 2 tokens, and then we can go to the back of the card. There we go. You notice that the edges of your newly purchased rug are tattered and mud-stained. Finding this out, you shift the furniture aside and pull back the rug. To your surprise, you see the door leading out of your study. Well, you see the door leading out of your study. You slowly turn the knob, and the door swings open, revealing your hallway below. Crazy things. You jump through the doorway, landing on your feet on soft dirt. The door to the study slams shut above you. The smell of burning wood fills the narrow hall, intermingled with the scent of rot and decay. Alright, so now it tells us to do some stuff. We have to put into play the set-aside hallway, cellar, attic, and parlor. Discard each enemy in the study, there are none, and then place each investigator in the hallway and remove the study from play. So let's do that first. So we put aside these cards for now. So the study is gone. Should there have been any enemies there, those would have disappeared as well. And then we get some new cards here. So we have the hallway. That's where we will begin. Oh, and I should turn it like this. The hallway. And then we have, let's see, the parlor, the attic. Let's put that above the hallway. And the cellar below, of course. Alright, now let me explain these symbols here. I'm going to see that I can zoom a little bit here. So now we all have all these symbols here. So again, we have the cards with the lock symbol on top of them. But now we see those symbols on top and those at the bottom. This means that the hallway is connected to each room that has these symbols, which means it is connected to the cellar, to the attic, and to the parlor. While, as you can see, to the parlor, it is only connected to the hallway. Also important, the parlor says the entrance to the parlor is blocked by a darkly glowing, unfathomable barrier. You cannot move into the parlor. So we cannot go here at this moment. We'll see when that happens, when I'm allowed to. And we can read whatever is in the hallway. So the hallway. A moment of panic and disorientation strikes as you land upon the floor of the hallway. The world spins as if turned on its head. And then we get to turn around. So, the walls of your house are splattered with mud and your hardwood floor is gone, replaced with a dirt path. As you can see, no clues here. There is a shroud because you can still investigate. If you have certain cards that give you something to investigate, when you investigate, you might still can do that if you want. Alright, so that's where we are in the hallway. And well, that actually ends our turn, but not before we read the next act, of course. So, the barrier. A glowing barrier blocks the path to your parlor. As you move toward it, intense heat forces you to back away, picking up a handful of dirt. You toss it at the barrier and watch in horror as the dirt incinerates. Perhaps there is something in the cellar or attic that can help. So, the objective now is when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend a requisite number of clues to advance. So we need 3 clues and to be back in the hallway to, well, advance this act. That's our goal, folks. So, but we ended our turn as well because we had our 3 actions. We had a bunch of actions, so that's pretty cool. So let's go back a little bit like this. And let's see, round sequence. Now we go to the enemy phase. There are no enemies, so let's skip this all ahead. And then we go to the upkeep phase, where normally if you finish your turn, you flip it to the black and white side. And then now we can flip it back like this. All cards that are exhausted, they get back like that. All right. Then we get to draw 1 resource token. Wow, I forgot the word almost. And 1 card. And we have a fire axe. Now these weapons, sadly enough, I'm drawing some weapon, but I don't need any weapon at this moment as long as I keep Duke alive. That's very important, keep Duke alive. For now, we can use maybe the fire axe for something else. And that ends the turn. If we have more than 8 cards in our hand, we have to discard down to 8, but that's not the case. So let's continue play, and then we go to the new round, which starts, and now we have to do it with a Mythos phase. First, we place 1 Doom, 1 of these on the agenda. So 2 more, and it will advance, and bad things will happen. Then, that always say, advance the agenda. If the threshold is satisfied, it isn't yet. And now each investigator. And if you're playing with more players, you have a leader. That one goes first, and then you go around the table. But for now, I'm alone, so I'll draw 1 of these event cards. And as you can guess, well, this is encounter deck. These are bad things. Period. So what do we have? We have Grasping Hands, which is a treachery card. And there is a symbol I was talking about, so we had to include cards in this deck from certain symbols. And one of these was that one. It is a hazard, revelation, which means it happens when you reveal it. Ta-da! Revealed. Test speed for 3. For each point you fail, take 1 damage. So we have to do a speed check. And for each one that's below 3, we get a damage. Now that's a tough choice already. And we could now see. I have a choice now. I could boost this skill. Before I draw my token, I could choose to boost this skill. How will I be able to do that? By playing cards and ignoring everything except for these symbols here. Now, as you can see, this card has 1 speed symbol here. So if I would discard this for this check, this would give me +1 speed. But I would lose the card, of course. This one here, the Unexpected Courage, is a skill card, which means I can use this as well now for 2 of my choice. So I could get +2 speed, and that means something, the text here has to do with the skill because it's a skill card. And I can do this card because I have multiple in my deck, 2, because you cannot have more than 2 cards of any type in your deck. I can use only 1 for a skill test. So if I got 2 Unexpected Courages, I can only play 1. But I'm going to take some risk. I'm not going to spend the cards. Things might be more dangerous later. So let's just draw 1 token. We have a speed skill of 3. And we draw, this one again. Wow, I can show you all the symbols already. So let's see. We have -X, while X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. There are none. There are no enemies at all. So this is a 0, which means we succeed this test and we don't get damaged. So we just discard the card Sweet. Alright, that's it. That's the mythos phase. And now we go to the investigation phase again. And let's see what we will do. So, we take our cards and let's see what we are able to do. Now, there is a lot of very interesting things to do here. I might use the emergency cash to get 3 more resources, but the question is, do I really need them at this moment? Maybe it's more interesting to use this card later to, well, discard it to ready Duke again. So I think I'm going to focus on moving to some of these places here. And what way to go? Well, I'm going to the... Let's go to the attic first this time. So I'm going to the attic first. There we go. That's an action. Moving is an action. But now we reach the attic and we get to read what's on it. So the smell of rotten meat assaults your nostrils as you approach the attic stairs. We flip it. So we have the attic, and as you can see, there is some meat hanging here above a barrel. The bloody carcass of a malformed beast swings from a meat hook chained to the ceiling. Blood drains slowly from the carcass, dripping into a small barrel. Ugh. So, as you can see, forced, so that happens immediately after we enter this location. We take 1 horror because of the sight of that terrible corpse. This has a shroud of 1, not too bad, not difficult to investigate. And the attic here gives us 2 clues to investigate. So let's put those here, but also we should not forget to take a horror. There we go. Alright, so that was action number 1. Now for action number 2, let's try and investigate a little bit. And well, since there are no enemies there, let's just make it a little bit easy the first time, and let's use Duke, who gives us 4 investigation versus 1 of the location. And that means we get to rumble in our bag here and get to draw a token, which is a +1 again. Wow, this never happened before. So we get this first clue token already. We need 2 more to advance this act, and we need to be there. So we still have to go probably to the cellar first. That was our second action, and as a third action we could use the flashlight, but this is not the shroud is not that hard, right? So maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to investigate again, but this time with Ashkin Pete with his base investigation of 2. So we have 2 versus 1, and we draw a 0. Perfect, awesome. So we get our second clue token. So we're already done there. Not much reason to stay there, but we still need have to do some moving now. That ends our turn. Enemy phase, no enemies. Perfect, no enemies. That's perfect. Then we go to the upkeep phase, where we reset everything and where we get to draw 1 more resource and 1 more card, which is the emergency aid that can heal us or an ally at our location. But not that important. It might help us with the skill symbols, so that's cool. If you have cards that you can't use of their ability, you can still use them for those symbols there. We have 6 cards, no need to discard. So let's go to the upkeep phase, and after that we will end it, and I will invite you to go and watch the next part if you are interested in how this goes along. So let's see, we drew cards. Upkeep phase, 1 doom on the agenda. That's always bad news. So there's 2 already, so this is going to go fast suddenly. And then we draw 1 of these, and it is Dissonant Voices, another treachery, different symbol as you can see, a terror. So revelation, put Dissonant Voices into play in your threat area. Alright, so players have their own threat area, which means if enemies can go there and then they're engaged with you, and certain effects go there as well, that means that they're active for you. In this case, it goes here, and as long as this card is here, I cannot play assets or events, which kinda sucks. At the end of the next round, we discard this card. So, that's bad, so we have to remember this. For now, no assets, no event cards that we can play. Wow, not good. But hey, it's not an enemy, so we're still okay. We can still focus on our other things that we want to do. That ends the Mythos phase already, which is okay, we're fine with that. And then we go to the new investigation phase, but that's for next time. This has been a little bit longer because of the explanation of stuff and the reading of the scenario story, of course. But if you want to see more, I invite you to go to, well, the next part. I think I'm going to wait to upload this part until I filmed second part. That might be more interesting for everybody. So go to the next part. It should maybe do automatically because it will be in the same playlist. Anyways, thank you for watching this part. I hope you enjoyed it. If I made any stupid rule mistakes, let me know, although I will not be able to change them because I'm already going to film part 2. But still, let me know, because I'm probably going to play this game more and more often, and if I made stupid rule mistakes, I would like to know which mistakes I've been making. Besides that, let me know anything else in the comments if you want. If you're not subscribed, well, feel free to subscribe. Always cool to have you here if you want to see more. And well, thanks again, and I see you all in the future with some more Arkham Horror, the card game. Bye bye.